And who do you think's going to win in the fight between Jack Della and Islam?
It's a good fight, but a tough fight. I go a little bit more on Islam.
Khamzat Chimaev also shared his thoughts on the potential showdown between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. Meanwhile, Yoel Romero weighed in, calling it one of the toughest fights to predict. He explained that Jack, as the new welterweight champion, brings dangerous punching power along with solid wrestling, making the matchup feel like a true 50-50ths. Romero noted that Jack's takedown defense isn't the strongest, which could create openings for Islam, but at the same time Jack's punching power, especially with the size advantage at 170, could be a serious factor. He emphasized that while many see Islam as the bigger man, the reality is that Della Maddalena is actually quite large for the welterweight division, which makes the fight even more intriguing.
What about Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, who is a new champion in welterweight division?
It's hard because Maddalena have a very good cardio, very good puncher. Yeah. It's not bad wrestling too. It's not bad wrestling. It's a 50-50.
50-50, but Jack has not that high takedown defense. You know.
But punch it. He have a very hard punches.
And he will be more powerful than Islam, right? Or
that's it. Exactly.
Because of the weight difference, right?
Yes.
Or Islam is too big for.
No. That guy, Maddalena, is big. For 170, he's big.
Gilbert Burns also supported Islam Makhachev's move to test himself at welterweight, saying the division might actually suit him better. He described the matchup with Jack Della Maddalena as highly competitive, noting that Jack gains an edge from training alongside elite names like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones. Burns admitted he hasn't studied the fight in depth yet, but predicted it would be a very close contest regardless of the outcome.
Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proving himself. He's number one pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on.
When asked about a potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, Khamzat Chimaev admitted it would be a very tough matchup. He explained that both men bring dangerous tools. Islam with his world-class grappling and control, and Jack with his heavy hands and sharp boxing. While Khamzat leans slightly toward Islam because of his proven dominance at the highest level, he didn't dismiss Jack's chances. He acknowledged that Jack's size and power at welterweight make him a legitimate threat, especially if he can keep the fight standing.
And who do you think's going to win in the fight between Jack Della and Islam?
It's a good fight, but a tough fight. I go a little bit more on Islam.
In addition, Islam Makhachev has been putting in serious work ahead of his potential clash with Jack Della Maddalena. During training, he was even spotted dropping a sparring partner, showcasing sharp striking and improved power to go along with his elite grappling. The UFC champion looked locked in, sending a clear message that is fully prepared for the challenge. Robert Whittaker also suggested that moving up in weight could actually extend Islam Makhachev's career, since constant cuts to lightweight can wear a fighter down over time. He compared the move to Dustin Poirier's situation, saying it's the kind of storyline that excites fans and makes the division even more compelling.
Maybe. It's, I guess that's the $1 million question. That's the question everybody's asking. And that's kind of the question. It's the same situation as Topuria as well. How good is Topuria? But what's he going to look like up weight division? Same with Islam. By all reports, though, the weight cut was really hard for him, like really, really hard. He's super strong for that weight division, which, you know, must translate well to moving up, making it a little bit easy cut. Maybe gets a little bigger. It's yeah, I'm very. That's the $1 million question. Everybody's asking the same.
Whitaker also pointed out that no one can truly predict how Islam Makhachev will adapt at 170 pounds, since moving up in weight always comes with uncertainties. Still, he argued that Islam has the tools to do everything Belal Muhammad does inside the cage, only at a higher level.
But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Belal Muhammad offered his take, saying he envisions Islam Makhachev taking Jack Della Maddalena down and using his wrestling advantage. He recalled that when he fought Jack, even he had to fully commit to every takedown attempt. Belal also praised Islam's camp, describing them as masters at crafting detailed game plans and executing them with precision.
How do you think Islam versus JDM goes down? Honestly, I think Islam will probably take it down. Like, Islam's wrestling really good. Like, even with me, I really commit to it, I took it down. Their team's so good at, like, hacking it, game plan and sticking to it.
When asked how he sees Islam versus Jack playing out, Belal Muhammad said he expects Islam to take it to the ground, pointing out that Islam's wrestling is on another level. He explained that even in his own fight with Jack, he had to fully commit to every takedown, and praised Islam's team for being so effective at creating game plans and sticking to them. Sonnen, however, raised a bigger question. If Islam were to lose against Jack, what would come next? Would he stay at welterweight and try to climb back toward a title? Or return to lightweight where he already reigns? Sonnen used fighters like Ilia Topuria as an example, stressing that for elite athletes, the championship belt is the ultimate motivation. Nothing else carries the same weight.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? Works his way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or does he cut his weight back down to 155 pounds? Whether it was Ilia, what he's going through now, what it is Islam in the announcement that we just got, what I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than the weight.
Ian Machado Gary also praised Islam Makhachev, warning the welterweight division to take notice if he makes the move up. Gary described Islam as a complete modern fighter, technical, composed, and potentially even more dangerous without the constant strain of cutting down to 155.
And if that man turns up and says, I want to be next, then I think everyone in the welterweight division goes, okay. He's an absolute disaster for everyone in the division if he comes up and doesn't have to cut weight. He'll still be big, he'll still be strong. He's the perfect example of the new evolution of fighters. Great everywhere.
Dustin Poirier said the fight could be decided in the opening minutes. If Islam secures early takedowns, he sees the Dagestani controlling the pace. But if Jack stuffs those attempts, Poirier believes Jack's reach and striking power could shift the momentum. He also pointed out that Islam's striking may look awkward, but it's effective because opponents are constantly anticipating a level change.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's going to get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. For me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to.
Charles Oliveira described the matchup as a true stylistic clash. He explained that Jack Della Maddalena is a patient striker who systematically breaks opponents down, while Islam Makhachev will lean heavily on his wrestling. For Oliveira, the key factor comes down to whether Jack can keep the fight on the feet.
Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que... Ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
Dan Hardy highlighted Jack Della Maddalena's potential, but some analysts questioned whether he can consistently handle the demands of the division. They also expressed skepticism about Makhachev's ability to succeed at welterweight, suggesting that Jack's size and relentless pace could prove overwhelming.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Bilal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, you know, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, you know, potentially gas himself out because he's been straight into a 5-round fight with him.
Renato Moicano gave a balanced perspective, saying the matchup should be seen as fairly even. He acknowledged Makhachev's size and dominance at lightweight, but pointed out that moving up to welterweight brings new challenges. In his view, Islam will need time to add the right muscle and adjust to the physicality of naturally bigger opponents.
So Islam versus JDM, I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be.
Javier Mendez dismissed comparisons between Jack Della Maddalena and Ilia Topuria, saying they don't really matter. For him, what drives Makhachev is the challenge Jack brings to the table. Mendez voiced complete confidence in Islam's abilities, praising his well-rounded skill set and tireless work ethic.
How do you feel about this version of JDM as a challenge for Islam? Do you feel like he's a harder challenge than an Ilia Topuria at lightweight?
You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. You know, I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, you know, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, you know, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area.
Mendez went on to add that Islam competes at a level Jack hasn't yet faced. He predicted that moving up to welterweight won't hold Islam back, believing he'll remain a dominant force without being at a size disadvantage.
So, you know, Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, you know, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, you know, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Aljamain Sterling, however, saw things completely differently. He predicted that Jack Della Maddalena could overwhelm Islam, to the point where it might even cool the excitement around a future Makhachev versus Topuria matchup. Sterling pointed to Jack's size, precision, and dangerous mid-range striking as key tools that could neutralize Islam's wrestling game.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against them either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Alexander Volkanovski analyzed the matchup, noting that Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad served as excellent preparation for facing Islam. Successfully defending takedowns in that fight likely boosted Jack's confidence, and Volkanovski believes his improved takedown defense now makes him much more difficult to control, even against elite-level wrestlers.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
John would describe the matchup as an exciting clash of styles. He noted that Jack's experience against Belal Muhammad was invaluable, but pointed out that Islam brings that same pressure, and then some, at an even higher level. While Wood sees Jack holding the edge in striking, the key question remains whether his takedown defense can withstand Islam's elite grappling.